Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are jumping right into a topic that is literally reshaping education as we know it, the principles of ethical AI for students. We're living in this wild era where technology is moving way faster than our traditional rulebooks can even keep up with. So having a principled approach to all this, well, it isn't just some nice bonus anymore. It's absolutely essential for anyone stepping foot into a classroom today.
Right out of the gate, the source prompts us to ask a really vital question. In this crazy, rapidly evolving landscape of modern learning, what exactly defines ethical AI use? Just think about the sheer scale of what we're dealing with for a second. We have these incredibly capable tools right in our pockets. Tools that can draft an entire essay on Shakespeare, solve insanely complex calculus equations, or summarize a dense history textbook in literal seconds. It's amazing, right? But raw processing power without clear parameters is just a recipe for total chaos in an academic setting. So, before we even get into the nuts and bolts of the tech itself, we have to hit pause and figure out where the boundaries actually lie. How do we make sure we're using this technology rightfully and honestly?
Our source material really zeroes in on this specific mandate: principles of ethical AI for students. And listen, this isn't positioned as some casual guideline, a temporary band-aid, or just a loose set of suggestions to get us through the current semester. By using this exact terminology, the text is practically shouting that as artificial intelligence blends seamlessly into daily homework and major research projects, we desperately need a shared, unified understanding. We need to know exactly what counts as acceptable practice and what crosses that line into academic dishonesty.
Now, what's really interesting here is the use of the word principles. It's highly intentional. It dictates that we're dealing with foundational, non-negotiable rules for academic integrity. A principle isn't just a passing trend, It's an anchor. It means the rules of engagement with AI aren't meant to just shift every time a new software update drops or a new app goes viral. They are fundamental truths. They have to govern how a student reasons and behaves when faced with the very real, very human temptation of just letting a machine do their critical thinking for them at 11 p.m. the night before an assignment is due. We've all been there.
And this brings us to a core tension we absolutely have to address. It's the gap between the raw capability of AI on one side and the framework of ethical use on the other. It's the classic can versus should dilemma. On the left side of the equation, we have what AI can do, which is obviously a lot. But on the right side, we have what a student actually should do. Just because a machine can technically perform a cognitive task like, say, mapping out a debate argument or writing a whole book report, doesn't mean utilizing it for that task aligns with the ultimate goals of personal learning. The ethical framework has to guide the capability, not the other way around.
So defining ethical use means really recognizing the deep responsibility behind interacting with these tools. It means using AI to assist your human brain, like brainstorming some initial ideas or breaking down a really complex topic so you can actually understand it better, not bypassing the learning process entirely. It's literally the critical difference between using a modern calculator to double-check your manual math work and, well, hiring someone else to secretly take the math test for you.
Notice how the source explicitly narrows its focus with these exact words, centering the entire ethical conversation directly on the student demographic. This isn't some broad philosophical debate aimed at software developers or corporate executives trying to automate their emails. No, this is aimed right at the classroom desk. By calling out school students, it acknowledges that young learners are at a uniquely vulnerable, formative stage of their lives. They are actively building their internal moral compasses at the exact same time they are being handed the most incredibly advanced tools in human history.
So why inextricably link these massive, complex, technological concepts directly to the daily academic journey of a student? Well, because the stakes are incredibly high. If students learn to rely unethically on AI right now, they essentially short-circuit their own intellectual development. Education isn't just about producing a pristine final product, like a polished research paper. It's about the cognitive struggle, the synthesis of ideas, and the hard work required to actually write it. The text implies a pretty stark warning here. If we don't establish these ethics right now, we risk raising an entire generation that knows exactly how to prompt a machine, but doesn't know how to think critically for themselves. By treating this entire text as a unified call to action, it really emphasizes the shared responsibility we have in our educational environments. This single statement pretty much captures the whole essence of the modern debate. It's an actionable directive for educators to teach, for parents to guide, and most importantly, for the students themselves to approach artificial intelligence with real intentionality. It demands that we don't just passively let this technology roll into our routines. Instead, we have to actively govern its integration into our schools with a crystal clear, unwavering framework. We're going to conclude today by leaving you to ponder how these principles will shape the future of learning, and more importantly, how you will personally embody them. Look,
The technology isn't going anywhere. It's only going to get more advanced and more deeply integrated into our daily lives. The real unpredictable variable here, it's human behavior. As you navigate your own educational path, or maybe guide those who are currently in the classroom, you have to decide where those personal boundaries lie. Will you just let the artificial intelligence do all of the heavy lifting and miss out on the actual lesson, or will you use it strictly as an ethical tool to elevate your own authentic human capabilities? That is the ultimate test this source leaves us with. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.